Hello everyone, this is Fantastic Worlds. Welcome you back to Lovecraft Country and the Let's Try series, and we're about to tackle the Traveling at Night demo. Now, if you've been with this channel for any amount of time, you know that Cultist Simulator was one of the foundational games. It's not the first one I've done. That was Alan Wake. It's not the first one I'm proud of. That would be Secret World Legends. But it is the one that really got me on the map as much as I'm on the map. I mean, I am a T-tier content creator after all. And hopefully we'll get to 5K shortly and I'll consider myself an S-tier one. But this one has definitely been the spine of the channel, as it were, between Cultist Simulator and Book of Hours. Probably with this coming out, I'm gonna maybe try to close out Book of Hours before it does. It's probably after we finish the current Shadows of Forbidden Gods. So what's this one about? Well, you're wandering about as a probably amnesiac, because let's face it, half of my games start off as amnesiac acolyte in 1940s France, but not the 1940s France we know, one in which magic is real. The sun was mortally wounded and time is broken as a result, and spirits run amok. So while in Cultist Simulator we're trying to harness this chaos for our power, and in Book of Hours we're trying to organize it, this one we're just trying to survive it. So let's drop in to the Secret Histories universe and see what it's like to travel at night. Who are you, Hollow Man? NTVs, Alpes Maritimes, November 1948. So World War II has happened. Now, before you notice that Cultist Simulator happened right after World War I. Book of Hours, you start between World War I and World War II, but given the timeless nature, you can go years and years, and the world outside does not actually move very far. You haven't actually gotten into World War II, no matter how many years you spend in the hush house. At least as far as anyone can tell anymore. And that's pointing out that the sun is mortally wounded, and until it dies, ends the age, and starts the next one. Every time and space are in fact broken, as the sun and the calendar it represents in our world is what causes time to be ordered. If that concept of ordered time fails, time fractures, as it has in this game, as it's broken into 5 timelines, 6 if you consider the fan fiction known as the fan fiction ones known as the 6 history. And each of those have branched off an infinite amount of variations, in which all of our games are technically canon, even though they have different outcomes and events, because essentially that's just reality as we experience it. So 12 years ago in Krakow, the worms hollowed me out. Now, the worms are metaphysical beings of entropy that are trying to consume the broken, ruined reality in order to, again, advance the age. But the thing is that the sun is holding on. There are cults trying to help the sun hold on, including the Suppression Bureau, by the way, and so that they can hold power in this ruined world. And there's some who are trying to kickstart the whole process, and a lot of people who just don't know what's going on or don't care. For the next 3 years, they steered me around Europe until at last I got away to a place where there's a kind of help. The worms are gone now because they possessed him as a devourer, but I've only begun to fill up the spaces they've left. I was back with the Bureau again when the worms took me, but I still think of myself above all as. Now, the thing is, one of the characters you play in the DLC is called the Exile, has an ending in which they end up working for the Bureau of Suppression, which is what they're talking about. They're one of the organizations that are trying to keep the world functional because they run it, or rather they represent the people who run it. After all, Connie, the most famous one of them, and the highest up, and the director, as according to the ARG in the future, she is a nobleman who's also a magician, who also can afford a cadre of bodyguards, making her the hardest one to assassinate. Alright, so I consider myself an exorcist, a writer, a conjurer, or a physician. Oh, I'd like to be a doctor. There we go! I've never completed my medical degree, though I learned enough to set a bone or treat a fever. So it makes us a healer, not a physician. Physician is specifically someone who has gone through the correct training. I was attracted by medicine's occult hinterlands. So basically, faith healing, magic, alchemy, alchemical healing, that sort of thing. In 1927, Spencer's was sponsored by the Suppression Bureau to study medicine. When that arrangement fell apart in 1930, he signed up for 5 years as a medical officer in the Legion de Sul. Oh, this is going to be like a game that I'm playing that I cannot actually speak of yet. Things to come. The Legion is that using the hyperlinks to allow us to do research, so we don't have to break off from the game and look things up, or even scan a journal in game, which I actually appreciate because, ironically, this is what the web was originally designed for. The hyperlinking was designed by a Swiss research company. I mean, a scientific research company back in the 1980s. I'm thinking late 80s. Can't remember off the top of my head. In which they found it problematic to try to look up things, so they would just link connections like this in order to be able to find it. You click on that, you go to the correct research paper, you find the reference, you come back. It was brilliant, and it became the internet. So it kind of like cancer exploded. But again, all things come to a cycle, and here we see ourselves back at where we began with the experience of what we've gone through. I'm thinking that in the future, the internet will probably sort itself out to something simpler because, oh my God, we can't keep up with this shit. The Threshold Legion, found in the service of the duties to guard the edges of things. I can't get, the problem is, there we go. The Threshold Legion, found in the services of duties to guard immoral institutions like the Bureau that from time immemorial kept the hidden world from retrieving in the everyday. We're the ones who keep the masquerade. The Bureau is the one we're most familiar with since it started Cultist Simulator at the very beginning as our enemy. As the Book of Hours, we are technically working for the Bureau, because we're trying to preserve the information that they need, but keep it secret from the rest of the world. And here we work directly with the Bureau. So we're an ex-agent who accidentally, in the course of our line of duty, got devoured. And then still survived. The time Morris, a ball seems a bit pointless now, really. Yeah. The thing about this one is a lot of people, I mean, what I've understood, because I've been trying to keep myself unspoiled as possible, the masquerade is shattering. In other words, the World War II had occult elements to it, and they just, unlike the nuke, my guess is, magic became the big thing that tore everything apart. Now everybody's trying to deal with that fact. Okay. Guard the edges of things. Almost anyone or anything is accepted as a recruit as long as they're prepared to endure the training and abandon their old lives. The Threshold Legion. After 3 years service, recruits who survive may apply A, citizenship in a sponsoring nation, if B, be considered formerly human. So, I'm sorry. Legion's motto is Honor et Humanité. Its unofficial motto, more often cited by legionaries, is Su Su, sweat or bleed. That is actually a shorter version of better sweat on the training ground than blood on the battlefield. It basically means you want to train and train and train. So by the time you get to the actual conflict, you're facing people who have far less training than you, and it's rather easy. It's ironically my thing about what I do with strategy games. You don't see the 60 to 80 hours that I grind to try to get the basic rules and systems going, especially called the simulator, unless, of course, I specifically say I'm doing so. I mean, you're never going to see me do Signalis on the channel until I actually master the rules, because, oh my God, you don't want to see the 60 hours of me crashing and burning. All right. Passions. Ambition. Now, you're going to notice aspect pool. These are the mystical vibrations, so to speak, that make up the elements of the Secret Histories world. Edge, which is limitation and conflict, battle and struggle. Heart, which is, of course, continuation and preservation. Moth, which is chaos. Forge, which is structure. Knock, which is the spaces between things. Rose, which is the enlightened. This is the one that's been least defined because it's newer. It is basically bringing order that is not structure but passion or sorts, enlightenment, hope. In other words, progress, probably this way. But Grail, of course, is life, both hunger and birth. Lantern is intellect and reservation. Now, Lantern is a broken concept, as is the sun is broken, and the Watchman, who is a false god, a demiurge of sorts, has currently ruling the world until such time as it ends. Now, it was he who set up the error that caused the sun to not die successfully. Passion provides aspects. Okay. Binder's principle, silence, endings, and death. Okay, so we have ambition, which is to forge and grail, to strive, achieve, rise, curiosity, which is to know, and compassion, which is to heal. I mean, many people can help many people. One person can help one person. Passion, gentle or empathic conversations choice. Now, the thing is, as a physician, we should do compassion. It should be over doing so, but of course, we also have ambition, curiosity. Now, if I was going to do curiosity, I would pick a writer. That would mean I am journalist and private inquiry agent. Okay. But that would probably go with ambition, whimsy, or cynicism. Ooh. So each one has a different scenario. Appetite, of course, exorcist, anger, sorrow, honor. I like honor. Yep, that is correct. Character, it's not, that's a quote from, it's a variation of a quote from Oliver Wendell Holmes, I believe, who's that character is what you are in the dark. Basically, it's when you already know you can see what you're doing. When you have no restriction. Like, somebody took the game, okay, what was it? Oh, God, the one where you're in the plague-infested place, and the dark one gives you powers. Can't remember what it is. If I remember, I'll write it on the thing here. But the thing is that you're given so much power that you can do whatever you want to. You can be a hero, you can be a monster, and the person who gave you powers isn't going to care because they aren't human. They just want to see what you do with it. But yeah, the thing is that I like being a doctor, but I'm curious curious. Maybe we should just go with that. Lantern's not my greatest scenario, though. Tell you what, let's go with compassion. All right, cool. Skills, 20 points to assign. Start with one in Bosk, which is Primordial Wood, Arts Unconsidered, Verdant. Ah, these are the skills we got from Book of Hours, to a degree, or some of them are. Dignity, authority and respectability, something learned at times priest and a medic. Efficacy, altars, the bright arts used at hearths and holy places. The Exari can be used for any alchemy recipes. So, okay. You know what? You and I both know, when it comes to it, I do alchemy all the freaking time. Stagecraft. Now, these are the ones we can't use. Birdsong. Half-Remember Conversations. Truth. Okay, preservation. Healing. Of course, we're going to be a healer. We're going to do this. Rest. All right. Oh, it's considered benign use of visible arts, often with those overlap with worldly medicine, which would be the one where we would use ultimate scalapscacy. Studies that not should be interested. Worms, earthquakes, subreal inventions. Failing. Okay. Yeah, this makes sense that we would know since we had the worms. Dignity. Or, well, probably at least some of that. And nictometry. Traveling and the faster or safer, that's why we do it. Christopher Lapide. Now, Christopher Lapide is the first actual thing you will see in this game if you play it in order from Cultist Simulator. It's his quote, traveling from his book Traveling in Night, which is what this game is based off of, is the first thing you'll see. There was a quote that started at the beginning of this, but I didn't have a chance to capture it. Well, when we do the game, because yeah, you know that I'm doing the game. When we do the game, I'll begin with that. Knowledgeable the ways of Arsa Transmudane. Transmudane? I'm going to guess that's wayfaring magic. Bosk. We got Verdant Shadow Places, Lord of the Wood. Okay, so we have 10 more points, and we have 5 more skills. So I'm thinking we just bump up everything by 2, because this is kind of where I instinctively started. Because we can't do any of these. And, you know, it's good. Let's move. And we're done. Cassandra's Woe. A cart condition. If I picked up the Stag's Door of the way, my heart trembles a half-guessed desires, but it keeps me warm at night. Stag Door is the entry to the 3rd level of the Mansis. Back that. Sign. When I came back to Europe after the war, my heart told me I should seek out Nina Lagardes, actress, artist, witch. She'll know where I can find the things I need to fill my emptiness again. Nina is notoriously elusive, but I followed her trail from Alexandria, where they brought me back. That would probably be, by the way, God damn it, the library there, one of my favorite characters. I can't remember her name. She shows up in Cultist Simulator Exile, and later on in Book of Hours as one of your fellow librarians. Oh, it's going to drive me nuts. It's been so long. To Antibes, where I now arrive. Okay, we shall sign. Cassandra's Woe. Cassandros. Now, Cassandra's Woe, by the way, it would in feminine version is a reference to the King in Yellow, the Casilda. Cassandra and Casilda, which are the 2 of the main characters, the Queen and the Princess. All right, who are beset by the King in Yellow. As you can see, we have 3 heart, 1 forge, 3 rose, and 1 grail. I can work with that. All right, let's rock, people. I'm the doctor. I'm here to help. Hard lessons. Failing a skill check challenge gives you troubles, but also additional experience. All right, auto-saving demo. Character. There we are. It gives us signs, active items. Unconventional suture kit, linen, catgut, silkworm, silk, and instruments of ivory, and steel. Drag this to one of your active item slots. Okay, you set this item as active. Active items work slightly differently in Traveling Night from equipped items in most games. Mouse over active editor to learn more. An active item gives a skill modifier when you have it ready to use. You can have the 4 items active, but the modifiers won't sum. Only the best one applies. Keep up to four hammers are not more effective than one hammer. Some items are cumbersome, dangerous, or embarrassing and apply negative modifiers. The good news is that because the best modifier only applies, any bonus will cancel out the number of penalties. So if item gives you a negative modifier to skill, any positive modifier will counteract that. Got it. So boss +2, preservation +2. As you can see, it's already added here. And the dignity, I'm guessing, is because of the hat. Yeah. Dignity +1, preservation +1, or de Chalvet. Can't change it anyways. So we have the outfit makes us look dignified, but I'd really like a coat, thanks. And we can obviously buy more because, oh my god, what's what you do. Cradle weft, a web of subtle work to encourage peace, healing, and a slow knitting together of possibilities. Drag this on your active item slots. Using this item will help the successful test will consume it. A failed test will not consume it, so we'll keep this here for now. We don't want to use it up until we know what we're using it for. Plans, progress, circumstances, threats, associates. We have nothing here. Crafting, active items. Crafting, viewing receipts. Spencer was never really an adept, and the worms took much of his ability from him, but he can prepare tools to achieve a variety of supernatural effects. Using unworldly skills increase, you'll be able to create more powerful tools. We have more crafting! Well, you know, in Book of Hours, I went kind of nuts with it. Like, filled the entire castle with the stuff I was making, but you know, I like that. I'm a true child of the Forge. Anyways, you can look through Spencer's recipe whenever you like, but to make something, you need to find a crafting venue. These are the crafting venues. Holy place, hearth, shadowed place, verdant place, quiet place, threshold, and wounded place. Alright, so, for example, assert authority. Romancy 5, you don't have this, but this one, for example. Use a forge influence to convert 2 love and influence into a forge memory. Oh, that's interesting. Knock. Use a knock influence to subvert any 2 influences into a knock memory. So this is subversion. You subvert 2 forges, so we can convert. Resin use a catalyst to convert any 2 other influence to a random memory. Real memory. Okay, and this one we can create witches' knots. Preservation 5. We have the minimum for the lit up ones. Midnight mark. So yeah, we're gonna have to make stuff. Okay, get ready for me to awaken. Prick a $1 note bill as it incorporates, we'll call it. And give me that. Crafting, versus you select it. You need an ingredient for each open input slot. It has to possess all the aspects in the below the slot. A flame icon means that no ingredient requires consumed as fuel. If there's no flame, there's catalyst, and you can reuse it. Okay, let's move that out of the way. What fresh shells is of toast? Let's start by right-click to dismiss all of them immediately. Thank you. So, crafting, choose ingredients. You need to have all aspects specified below. The picker will show everything in inventory that will fit. Nothing suitable. Nothing suitable. Alright. We'll be back here when we play the real game. A lot. Thank you very much. So much. So many things. Alright. Travel map. The map becomes relevant once Spencer's ready to leave Antibes. Travel from a station to any adjoining city if you have the relevant travel documents. Be careful. Repeated traveling the same route will include traces. What's traces? We know that from Exile DLC. That's how the assassins tracked us down. But apparently, betraying clue. A trace accumulate my name gets around and more likely to be recognized. Sometimes it might be good. I won't count on it being good. Spencer gained trusty for truthfully sharing personal information, interacting with authorities, simply staying one place for too long. Sleeping in the same place for one night is safe. Every night after that adds a trace. Traveling to a city removes traces as long as you don't keep traveling the same route. Surely been pity not to have been in the seas trees along the road, never exaggerating their beauty, never to have studied history in the weak calligraphy of songbird cages. Elizabeth Bishop, the question of travels. Visit a travel location, zone at a station, and move to a neighboring city. Things to bear in mind, traveling is a good way to shred traces. Traces remain on the route you use, but fade as you travel further. To cross national frontiers, you'll need travel documents. Acquiring them is an important part of progressing the story. A few inaccessible seeming destinations can be removed by other means. Got it. There or here. Interesting. I'm not going to choose anything until I know what I'm doing. Travel, the map, reason to use. Okay. Search for an unlock footnote. Footnote search. Basically information. This one? Paused. Oh, options. Alright. So, what we need to do, we can try moving around. Click on the ground. Alright. That means we can't do anything there. And we don't have the... Oh. You can scroll. What am I looking for? Now, do we have tab or another institution? Now, really need to do... Check controls. Quick save, option, quick load. Highlight interactable, Z. There it is. Character sheet. Notes, these are... Okay, camera movement is done by those. Got it. Always check your controls. Alright, Z. There are no interactables this time. This is about as far as we can go. Okay, so, what we want to do... We gotta diez vanzes. This, right here, looks interactable. Oh, and we can run, which is good. Let's observe. The headlights burn, the engine rumbles. Glance through the darkened windows. Glance through the darkened windows. Continue. The driver turns his head, eyes steady under the gamma badge cap of the state militia, and meets my gaze for a moment. It's rarely wise to attract the attention of the milice, and pass on quickly. Now, did we get a trace from that? Okay, cool. Let's grab interactables. A long, rattling road from Alexandria to Antibes, through mountain and forest and choking smog. But here I am at last. I could use a coffee, I could use a bath, I could use a shave, I could use a cigarette. I'm gonna go bath. My hair and collar are gritty with coal dust. This actually determines who I am. Am I a coal miner, or I'm dealing with a smoker? Let's do the smoker. The tick inspector is smoking Gatantes all the way from Milan. At least it's raining. Blessed mixing. Alright, advice. Welcome to traveling at night. Continue. That tiny choice will have a tiny consequence later. In a moment, another tiny choice. Antibes, before the war came to the world. The next choice acts with a passion. Choose a passion you possess to reflect fresh pips in your aspect pool. Choose one new one to start in the path to acquiring it. You can have up to 3 passions. But really, just pick the option that suits you. The game works best when you do that. Yeah, there is no min-maxing. Baldur's Gate 3, Baldur's Gate this here. I'm just me. Period. Okay? So let's just see. Of course, there's no way to make myself hipster dude in this one, unfortunately. Antibes. Before the war came to the world, this was the sweet blue eye of the Riviera. Yachts and parties and film star villas. Picasso painted his Perraults here by the sea. Compassion, possessed. And then there was the war. So many dead, deported, lost. I was in no position to help. Curiosity, potential. And then I came here, now here I am, even before I was away. First time in a new city was always exciting. Ambition, potential. Years ripe with opportunity. I could have made my mark. I don't want to dwell in the past. Let's be curious. Deal with potential. Act with a passion and curiosity. The golden gray divided city has suffered, but it's not like anywhere else now. Poor dying Europe is going out in style. Remember, because the sun is dying, and the sun is the literal source of all life in this world, the world is dying with it. And it's not dying in the way we are, where we have sort of self-inflicted, waves of pollution and the massive amount of weather that's being caused by global warming. No. The reality itself is rotting. We won't usually tell you explicitly which choices act with passions. We will let you roleplay or guess. The wars and their plagues took the glitter off those golden evenings, left the air dense and villainous. But I'll have to find Nina Lagse. Her trails brought me here. Heart's desire. I have followed Nina to the city of Antibes in the French state, in the southern half of divided France. My heart urges me to find her soon, but I don't always listen to my heart. My heart urges me to find her soon. Since I came back to the world, I've learned to listen to my heart. I'm going to go with this one. Don't want to wander too much, but also we get to do this. Actress, artist, witch. Lena casts a long shadow. Every adept in the continent knows her name. From the moment I woke in Alexandria, my heart clamored her to find me. I would never take on someone I'd never forgotten. Makes an impression. Needs careful. Really soul. I'm going to go with impression, because we're now altering reality. We're going to go back to the map and make a choice there as well. Gained 1 gil experience. Okay, she makes an impression. So now let's go back to the map. We have to do this first. I don't listen to my heart. Gained influence. Grail 1. Advice. Look for Nina Gassa. Until you find her, why is less important than where. And move on. Now, continue. Let's go back to the map. Let's see. Since I didn't make a choice, apparently I lost that opportunity. We've got to keep that in mind. Apparently we're never to make a bad choice. Brian Krug, by the way, is over by where the, where Hush House is. An opportunity lost is an opportunity lost, unfortunately. Okay then, let's walk into here and see what happens. The station hall is almost deserted. Not so many visitors to the Riviera in these times. Heart's desire. I've keen on Tibby's for a reason. I can't leave yet. I won't leave yet. Make a choice. Back into the rain. But it doesn't actually change our, it doesn't actually change us in any fashion. Alright, so let's check the map. Oh, we don't have a local map, unfortunately. Forge 1, Grail 1, increase Grail. Yeah, like I said, you learn by mistakes. Note that the police vehicle is unmarked, which means that it's essentially the secret police watching us. Others would say Europe's still healing. Others would say Europe's taking its time to die. Gain memory. Scar 1. Chilly. It's a smidgen too cold for what I'm wearing, but only a smidgen. Warm outfit provides a small bonus. Character, inventory, journal. Okay, no active or dormant threats that we can know of. But yeah, reality is breaking down. And it's coming and going in cracks. Okay, let's see what else is accessible to us down here. Ah, so we can actually double click to run. If you move from a distance, Spencer will break into a run anyway, from sheer enthusiasm or out of desperation. Got it. But you can do this. Library of the Hours. Now the Hours are the actual gods, by the way, of the realm, and they're not kind gods. Even the heart-based one is completely out of it. Rain's only half erased the chalk. The book owner must be re-lettered this morning. A determined soul. And this one, for example, what's it say? Highlighting objects. Interact with a highlighter. Hold Z. The Rue Racine is deserted. The rain, a curfew, some nastier reason. Yeah, if the locals are not here, then you have to kind of worry. Of course, we can just go right-click and remove them all, but I like to take my time. Check for any objects that are... Ah, there we go. Rain sprigs and flowers, at least. Gain memory. Scent 1. Alright. Journal. Memories. Where are the memories be stored? Wait, are memories crafting? Oh no, it's crafting, isn't it? Where's the inventory that we can hold all this stuff in? Hollow. Used to be more of me. Passions, evolution. It can evolve an empty passion to any passion you've acted on as long as you have enough right experiences. It can evolve existing passions only when appropriate. Anger can evolve to honor or ambition, but not to compassion or whimsy. Evolving a passion levels up, and passions can't go above 10. So you can't evolve any passion, and once it's empty to the max. When it's time all 3 passion at 9, you have a clearer idea of who your Spencer is. Compassion hollow. Used to be must be an observation. Evolve. Ooh, I see. Evolve to curiosity, knock, or lantern. Guard. Absence will be filled with any passion. Okay. Let's go. I welcome Morth. I'm no longer chilly. Stutrish gained influence. Lantern 1. Studying nutritious literature, layers glowering beneath the light topping of brightly colored novels about people's falling things, falling off things, and invented cocktail mixing pianos. That's oddly specific. Okay. This one says... Memory does not bite. Near one shelf in the corner of the shop, the crackling of the rain is less than audible. Even my footsteps are softer. A sign on the shelf reads silence. Examine the books. End craft. Traditional hush illuminates places an opportunity. Step away. Let's examine. Then we go with end craft. Ooh. You found my graveyard, Andrew says. Every book there was written by someone alive when the war began, dead when it was ended. Above all, a physician. Run fingers along a semi-medical text, stilling the heart. The red and white memory stirs. Gained memory. St. Theresa's Eve, Smithfield, 1921. Andrew, the books in the graveyard are of the display only, not for sale. Nod. Acted with passion. Sorrow. Near one shelf in the square shop, the crackling rain is audible. My footsteps are softer. So, okay, we're repeating. Traditional hushry or illumination applies as an opportunity. Okay, so here we can actually produce... We have a quiet place. We can... Let's see. Produce... Check. Venues and skills. A clever practitioner might craft a midnight mark with necromancy. With still don't use hushery. It's the ruthless one, Skalovsky. But we don't have the right one. We don't have illumination. For these surprises, you will work in different places. Necromancy can use a wound or a threshold, but not as a shadowed place. Hushery can be used as a shadowed or quiet place without a wound, and so on. So we find the most sinister adepts in graveyards and least fun in churches. I get it. Okay, so necromancy, no. This one... I can't find any of these that work for us quite yet. Hushery, yeah, we just seem to have picked absolute worst combination here. No. Well, you know, these things will come over time. For example, this one. There it is. Memory scar. See, that will allow us to create things. Okay, so the day will come when we can use this. That day is not today, but this is a place where we can create some things. Workbench, as you were, if you wanted doing the same way we did Book of Hours. Let's see. Okay, let's do some more thoughts. Gain memories. St. Agnes, you get these memories. Saw this in 37, the year before I went away. The worms gave me what you could call afternoon off, and I sat in the cinema watching our heroes cross the border in Switzerland. That's when I started to plan my own escape. Where do we get these? I wonder. Where do the memories... Oh, memories... Are memories inventory, so to speak? Resources. There we go. Influence Grail. Memory. I don't remember how much it was when the worms were in me. Focus. I passed. Here we go. Gotta be a lot of reading in this game. I don't remember how much it was when the worms were within me. Pain, poison, the bright face of the ragged sword, the sticky thickness of golden blood. I do remember I was never lonely. The ones that put the worms in me had enjoyed to lust to lay waste to Trizgalo when they thought the city unbuilt would rise. The city unbuilt was actually referenced in the Book of Hours as being something that lies beneath the ocean, the city of Yiz. But one of the things that we have to determine when we're there is whether or not we think the city unbuilt could ever be built. It only remained a possibility. But given that everything's broken, we're still going with it can only be the possibility. I've seen it refer as, by the way, it's also referred to in the recent horror quotation marks there. How do I put this? Horror in Her Private Hell, which is in the city that never existed, as the director calls it, in which is a surrealistic hell that which a woman is essentially fighting her own demons through both herself and her projections. But to say that it's one of those ones you're going to have to... If you like David Lynch, but you think maybe he's a little too coherent, yeah, that's your kind of film for you. Let's see. The worms enjoyed us to lay waste. Okay, the worms had people eating sword to sell. In other words, the worms are a mindless force of destruction. People were trying to tap them during the war, and it went really badly. So instead of nukes, we're dealing with metaphysical devourers of all things. This is not the sort of thing to load into a gun and fire, because after you shoot it, you can't control it. Memories. St. Theophilus Eve, Smithfield. All right. Clear this. Go to this. Right, focus. We all went thus stamping out of the cold rooms and great pool of Barts into the 1927, which means it's older than this one. Lantern. Right, this one... St. Agnes is 1937. This would be 10 years earlier before reinfected. We all went stamping out of the cold rooms and great pool of Barts into the meat markets where we saw again the things that are decently hidden beneath the skin. Focus. Hit it. Recall. Okay. To meet Mark's... The Bureau had sponsored me to train as a doctor, and they wanted their money's worth. I was learning a great deal, but only what we wanted me to learn. Red lessons in white. Basically, red and white is actually a reference to surgery. You attach what's red to red and white to white, and everything will be all right. That's actually a quote from the battlefield in World War I, when you had barely trained people who were forced into the roles of acting as medical assistants, because you had no one else. People were dying everywhere. Plague was running rampant. It was the worst times to be a human. Although we're getting there again. But yeah, that is where we will hold off right there. And we'll talk to this one. Woman bites man. Man dies. Man fake death. Fakes woman. Woman dies. Woman resurrects woman. A love story. Yeah, frankly, I'd probably consider that a film, depending on the other stuff. But yeah. Elegant ladies. Printing. Cavort. More elegant ladies. Some pulp westerns. Further elegant ladies. Bloodlunch tales of passion crimes. One particularly splendid lady with particularly splendid hair. Let's see. Do we have anything? Alright. Continue. Let's see. We've got a bunch of grails, but the only one we can possibly do, if I recall properly, yeah, we don't have the right ability for anyways. We still can't do these because we need to learn more, but let's talk to the person. Posters for poetry, no newspapers for prose. The bookseller raised her gaze from the newspaper. Continue. She looks me up, then down, then up. Careful interest. Andre, good afternoon. You are looking for something? Andre approves. +1 is now receptive. For someone, a woman, Nina Lagresse. Ah, I regret. We sell only books here. Lie. She's an old friend. I heard she'd come here to Antibes. It's important. I heard she'd come here to Antibes. This Nina, what does she look like? Pale as pearl. No, I've seen no one like that. Is this your bookshop? Active with passion, curiosity. It is now. Now? Since you war. Skill check requires an icon. If your invisible die is rolled, add your skill check and compare the difficulty level of the check. The choice will give you more basics. Yeah, this is a lot compared to a certain game that I am also playing. Yeah. I'm going to say that dear old Weather Factory duo must have liked that game very much because they're doing a lot of it. Technically, we took him and draw from an invisible bag. I got to see what they mean by the invisible bag here. Oh, damn it. Murmur prayer. Same everywhere. Bookshop, read for a quotation. 20% chance of success. We've got a chance of blowing that. I'm sorry. Let's show sympathy. Acted with passion, compassion, aspect pool recovered, 1 heart, 1 rose. Me as well, also. Approves. Andrea approves is now very receptive. Let's try that one again. Yes, you said. Any news? None the rain. Do you have papers? Today's paper? Name is Spencer Hobson. Let's do with success. Whimsy, success. I don't think. Wait, I remember the name. Gain tooth moth experience. Took a moment to savor the first accomplishment, then look at the experiences you received. They always new skills and new ones. You also experiences match one aspect, one relevant skill. But they'll always match the skill you use, but every skill has 3 aspects, so cycle through aspects in turn. If you don't know or care, don't worry. I'll be in footnotes for later. Alright, success. Voila! The Pilgrim Rose. We could use that. Books are good. The only play of mine ever published. Ilape pulled some strings. Whoa, let's... Wait. Is that the narrator talking or us? It is. Too mystical for me. And the translation, I think, is quite poor, but the dreams linger with this one. So basically, it's like a more beneficial version of The King in Yellow. It's a play that invokes a mystical experience, but it's really much more dream than nightmare. Okay, they would. I made unwise, ambiguous references to the invisible world. The Bureau shut down the production opening night. I was lucky to stay out of prison. Now, 1 second. I'll be right back. Okay, back again. All right, so I thought they popped every copy. How much? I thought they pulped every copy. Pardon? I mean, how much? 50 francs. It is difficult to find. 50 francs by the Pilgrim Rose. Large mail envelope 1. I have my funds at where's safe. Alright, let's try it. A bulky envelope envelope bulges inside the pocket. Time to open it. Retrieve the contents. 2 passports. Neither qualifies me as a citizen of the French state. My British passport, the name of Spencer Hobson, is valid. Though the birthplace of false game birth. British passport 1. Oh, Spencer Hobson. She is actually... Oh my god. Give me 1 second, people. Spencer Hobson is one of the antagonists in Cultist Simulator as a Bureau, the Suppression Bureau, the one who's the kind of flaky former priest, occultist who can transcend himself from spirits but not from people in that one. And yeah, he's also one of the people who visits Hush House, who can be one of the people who requests books from you, who after he's left the bureau by that point in the game timeline, Secret Histories timeline, and is looking for a new purpose in life, and then he gets used as a host for the worms. Now he's recovering. Let's see. Reading, while my pre-war French passport, the name is Sylvain Huissier, gives my place of birth accurately, but in France it issued it no longer exists, and the passport is now valid. Gain Third Republic passport. Third Republic is the name of the French government post Napoleon, I believe, which technically is still going on today, sort of, kind of. I mean, it's changed so much it might also not be the same thing, but this must be the Fourth Republic we're in right now. Invalid. Traveling funds, mostly dollarness francs with a few incorporate dollars, which... Francs 500, gain $5. Okay. Oof. Let's just assume these are USD, equivalent of USD and French francs, okay? And a packet of Bonanza cigarettes. The dollars will be acceptable everywhere in Western Europe. The cigarettes everywhere there's a black market. Gain Bonanza cigarettes, 1. Reading, a single ministry's Dola. Gain Dola, 1. Reading, and a razor blade. Useful things, razor blades. Gain razor blade, 1. Discard the envelope. Large lost vanilla envelope, -1. Right, so, obviously, buy money, franc, but like franc carries a 200 to the dollar. Currency of the French state, named for double-headed axe, which serves the state as its symbol. Focus. Work formula. Currency. West legitimate Urshas kept local currency and corporate dollars in them sterling. In the East, only official medium of exchange is the Dola, a quasi-miraculous bill of exchange voted in productive labor and guaranteed by the stars themselves. So whatever the USSR is in this world, it's really fucking weird. Using the West will get you arrested. Only 2 currencies widely accepted both sides of the line, Swiss francs and cigarettes. Well, the Swiss always. Black market traders on both sides of the line will accept payment in dollars or sterling, some other currency if you're lucky. Work has a double-headed axe, which is the symbol of the horned axe, of course, which, ironic at the horned axe, which is a archaic power that's been around in the previous age of Neolithic existence, is the patron god of France now. Well, hey, they probably need one. He needed a job. They needed a job, really. It worked out. Oh, wow. Anyways, focus. The corona currency of the United States, buttery smooth beneath the fingertips, faintly luminous even in darkness, much valued in the wilder hinterlands of Europe as a talisman of ontological stability. Yeah, money was actually an ingredient focus you could use for spells in Cultist Simulator. Never did so because funds were so precious, but it's kind of hilarious. But yes, it does represent different concepts, such as the forge, a creation, object materialization. Through money, you buy things, and of course lantern, as it is a form of order, structure. The new $5 bill system was nailed above the doors and invoked the protection of the wonders likeness of Bears Barkley, who's both the president and incorporate, which basically means they have an avatar of the lantern, probably, as America. Couldn't be much worse than we have right now. Your currency is expressed in dollar. Heaven bless America. Oh, God, no. It's even worse than it is here. Focus. A general incorporate cigarette. This is far from the U.S. A dollar might get you 10 cigarettes in the black market. For Europe, it's almost a currency. Right-click to refresh one port. Your axle consumes the item. All right. Okay, and focus. The official ministries... Okay, we need to figure out what the ministries are. The Revolutionary Icarian Workers' Council, which drove the revolution in Russia, become more efficient under the gleam light. Okay, they're the ones who probably more lantern. The stars accept and synthesize the decision beneath the avuncular and steely stays of the steel, the advisory entity to the Council of Ministers. The stars in turn pass their gifts to the ministry to enact these decisions. What could be better? Somehow they've made the USSR worse. We'll get to that in a minute. More than that, the currency of the Great Exchange, a mutual bank guaranteed by the stars themselves, utterly reliable incarnation of Incurian proud Hellenist mutualism, ontological perfect reflection of the value of labor. Dear gods. Necessity is okay. Anake. Basically, there is a goddess named Necessity. Anake. Ananke, who's a Greek goddess, who is the most ruthless of them all, because she will do what is necessary, without regard to what anyone else thinks or any system morality. If she rules it's necessary, it is done. The ministry's dollar will occur, but it is also impossible to craft such a token. This is the war as a glean. Currency of glean is used for night art, so you can create a mark of necessity as a substitute, but you can use it as stuff. Now Not by value, the means of exchange guaranteed not by gold or silver, but the fate synthesis of shining fellow travelers from the outside the sky. So we have, yeah, the world has broken. We have gotten spirits for operating with directly in this world. Universe accepting the Soviet spirit, utterly forbidden in the West. $1 gets you $4. If you use my fine, make the exchange. So, the dollar. Okay, good, we got money. Great, but we need to find out the Icarians. Let's focus on this. Let's get that. The preeminent form of socialism in the 20th century based on the common ownership of the resources of creation. From the dream of the European radical to the efflorescence of utopian communities and the revolutionary movement to the system which the ministries founded their power. Gleam? Gift of the Stars with the Ministries. Something like Lantern, but not. Oh, it's an alternate version of the Lantern that we now have light wars going on. Let's focus on this. I want to know what the Ministries are. Okay. Yeah. So we have the light, old version of the light, and now the new one, the Gleam, which is essentially, kind of feeling Borgish, really. You know, work is the currency of being. If you do not work, you do not be. All right. Cool. Nice to see the revolution is happening. Sometimes revolutions aren't what they're cracked up to be. Anyways. Okay. So, let's see if we have anything else to talk about. Gee, hello again. Do you have papers? Ready? The Sioth from today. An excellent state paper. Francis 1, buy a copy. Lost Franks 1, gained the sheaf 1. And, excuse me. Okay, so. Let's get to our stuff. Oh, continue. Inventory. We have today's paper. Somewhere. Active items. Alright. Oh, papers. Tools. Alright, cool. Razor blade. A safety razor blade. Not a useful practice of the art to consider a need to shed blood with a tool has never tasted blood. Drive this to your actum. Using this item with successful skill will consume it. We will not be consuming it. We'll just keep the going papers. State-sanctioned paper. The masthead. A weath sheet gathered around Francisca Acts of the State. So, yeah, a socialist government for France. That really makes sense, really. Focus. And that is a perishable. Okay, perishable disappears when you travel. Got it. Okay, cool. Right-click to read. Reading. The sheaf. Dated 2nd November. As often, precise dates resist the eye. Remember, the sun is damaged. That means time is breaking down. Flip through. Headline. A noose around Berlin. The ministry shackled the free necks of West Berlin with a merciless blockade. Starving citizens implore heaven for help. This is reacting to the real world. What happened after World War II is in order to try to control the entirety of Berlin, because it's divided between the East Berlin and West Berlin, with the West, of course, controlled by the West, and the East controlled by the Soviets. They created a blockade, since they controlled the territory around the city, the Soviets did, in an attempt to starve them into submission. However, at that time, the Allies just airdropped food continuously into there, because the Soviets shot down one of their planes. That was war. Nobody really wanted war, because at that time, the Soviets didn't have the nuke, and the United States did. The war would have been rather one-sided. The Allies answer. The mighty air forces of the incorporates of the state rain down a bounteous plenty on the suffering citizens. Oh god, those are the days. Even the English, and even the effete successors of the Republic have belatedly joined the effort, or they rely on the state and the incorporates to provide the cargo. So feeble are their economies. Great. Eagle Land. Which is kind of like the TV tropes entry on when America starts getting too big for its britches. Read about the numerous overwhelming victories in Indochina. Oh my god. This is going to be... This is... Welcome to 1984, 40 years early. Thankfully, the state bears the burden of war on the former colonial possessions of poor lost France. Ergo, victories continue. The victories are notable for being numerous and overwhelming. That was useful. Read other news. A number of sheep and a smaller number of goats have returned triumphantly from the summer pastures and won local livestock competitions. Oh, this is as bad as the real news. The winning animals have been successfully photographed from angles chosen to emphasize their noble ovine or caprine purposes. Profiles. The writer notes that no Republican sheep or goats have won anything, although he doesn't specify whether this is because Republican animals are effete or just ineligible. Right. I think we're done here. Alright, let's get focus. Pre-war passport. In the name of Mr. Spencer Hobson, my place of birth is given as Cursum in England. A real passport, the government's changed the law and it might not be valid any longer. So it's natimetry +1 and dignity +1. Okay. This one, focus. A pre-war passport, the name of Mr. Hussein Hussa. Civilian Hussa is the name I was christened under back in Paris orphanage for the name of my old Third Republic passport. My place of birth is given as Paris. That much is true as far as I know, but it's not a name I often use. Convenient to travel as a Frenchman, but I can't legally be a citizen of both Britain and France. So the paperwork is a frostery, and the Republic has issued new ones anyways, leaving it invalid. Everything's changed since the war. Alright, so this one is actually superior. Drop in. This would allow me to Nyctodermy is now 6. Preservation 3, dignity. Yeah, it's good to have dignity. So yeah, we have the dignity of a British man, as opposed to a person who's just scamping along, as it were. The day will come when we can actually use a crafting station. Looks like we have alternative characters. I think we're done here. Unless I can find something more useful here. Nope, but remember this is a crafting station. I'm now chilly. Can't find a freaking... Alright, so I guess we're just going down the street. Let's see what we've got here. Nothing interactable. No. Okay. Like Silent Hill, most of the doors won't open for us. Or like real life. Most doors do not in fact open for us. This all looks nice and shiny. That's not a good sign, probably. Aha! We might find something down here useful. Ah, there it is. Let's wander out in the rain, shall we? So we might find some resources. Alright, cool. Fresh scents, well kept. Game memory scent. Okay, cool. Nos Mortas, the name of death, 1914 to, and it's to our dead, 1914 to 1919. Dark years and darkness hangs there like smoke. World War I. My first war, I was a chaplain with the door shares. At different times, I'd never be attached so young. So, yeah. He was a priest then, remember. A memory uncoils. You've gained your first trouble. That happens life in post-war is awful. Fascination, dread, weariness, and pain are reduced by sleep. You'll find somewhere to sleep in entities later. Traces will slowly creep up if you treat in one place too long, reduced by traveling. If you get a trouble rush high enough, it'll start causing you problems. See the footnote for the trouble you just gained. Move us over the icons in your character's portrait whenever you want to see how your troubles are affecting you. You can also see troubles stored from inventory. Why inventory-based troubles can occasionally be used in crafting. We've done that before. Alright, so 1 dread. I'm going on easy. Gain 1 dread. Gain my own past. Alright. To our dead. 1914. Dark years and darkness hangs here. We'll deal with that later. The arts of boss, cussery, and scuffs there worked in shadow. Continue. Alright, so what on earth can we do here? We can craft 2 heart influences into a grail memory. Okay. Skolovsky, we do have that. Midnight Mark. What would we need? Nothing suitable. I don't think the coin would be a good idea for that one, but it exists. Since the war, the Night Arts, Skolovsky, Catalyst. Dread. We can use Dread. Ending the game. Since arrest, Fascination and Dread will cancel each other out, but anything left over may cause difficult dreams. Okay. Once. This will craft us Acknowledgement Necessity. Assertion of the Misdoma. If I can or won't, I can definitely acknowledge the necessity of the token of base metal blocked by older powers of Night and Bone. I can rely on and add to that the familiar Cosmic Dread. Okay, cool. Do it. You created something. Click to create it. Any catalyst ingredients are also ready to be collected. Any fuel ingredients are being consumed. Tidying up. Be responsible not to invite anyone to influence. Before you start your next item, click the results of your last recipe to collect them. Okay, and we have... collecting your work. You chose that collecting what you made will go in inventory anyway, but you'll find it satisfying to appreciate your work. Okay. So, let's back up into inventory. See what we created. Okay, first of all, it's a memory. We'll deal with trouble shortly. What did we just create, anyways? Papers, tools. There. Mark of Necessity, a token and used for an earthly power in defiance of the Gleam's cosmic claim prerogative, used for knight's art crafting. So the Gleam is anti-knight. Got it. Drag this item to your icon, Hush-Free +1. Using this item 6 skills will consume it. Okay, so it gives us +3 +1, but also shadow elements. Ah, so we're dealing with shadow stuff. Got it. But yeah, if we consume it with Hush-Free +1, does we put into Hush-Free +1? Yeah, we can't actually use it because we have no skill in Hush-Free +1. You know, it doesn't. Our history doesn't actually go up because we need at least one level into it. But that was interesting when we were capable of doing that. Anyways, troubles, dread. Dread is teeth. Dread increases, will suffer penalties. Fear has me in its teeth. So we need fascination to balance it. But let's get this, shall we? Youngest chaplain in the regiment, but Father Schiller had taken me under his wing. I was youngest chaplain in the regiment, but Father Schiller had taken me to his wing, and Father Schiller was exorcist and extraordinary, so I became his assistant. In the ashes and churned earth of Cambrai, second battle, in a sick and shattered place, it was me who would call up to get the victim to the death, the flashlights, there we go, to the sick and shattered places. It was me who called the victims dying when it was feared the dead might struggle up afterwards or the bones grinding like glass. As in this world, undead happens. Shattered dead is one of the basic creations you can make for offensive purposes in the Cultist simulator. Oh boy. Cambrai. The second battle of Cambrai, 1919, my first battle, we were almost there. Almost broke through. We hung the knife's edge. We broke into the Great War. It might have ended a year later. Yeah, that's... Felt here. Oh my god, we're going to be going for this a lot. But I've had it over a year later. The books tell you the Germans rallied, but I remember we found the church there and why the Dorsetts drew back, leaving 10,000 of our own lying dead on the ashes. The lesson. I learned a great deal. +1 experience, +1 the cost. We paid dearly. When I became we won. Victory. Gives... experience. So what we can do is we can decide. We're going to go with the lesson. Alright. 1 lantern experience. Excellent. Now we hit the Great War. Notice that this game really, really expects you to do a lot of reading. And you're gonna love it. The last thing was, the last in Book of Hours, where you have over 100 of occult books to go through and so many hidden information. Alexis Kennedy, the writer for these games, said it quite simply, read everything. Everything. You're not going to find occult knowledge in the basics of this world, and what you see as your on the surface. You're going to find it beneath. You're going to need... occult means hidden. It's literally the stuff that is hidden from the eyes. So just keep that in mind. 1919, the last year of the Great War, I left the seminary and volunteered as a chaplain in the Dorset Regiment, where Stanislaw traded me as an exorcist. The Great War, we thought was as bad as we get. It took 20 years on how long we are. I'm not sorry I missed it. He wasn't conscious for World War II. He was possessed. Now he's trying to, like us, he's amnesiac, which is quite a common and useful way to start a horror game. War in the World. Europe smashed to ruin, haunted ruins. The hours had its flows. They upheld time, sense, and sense of symmetry. Are we sorrowful or are we hopeful? That's what it really comes down to. The sun, we're not pro-sun, simply because everything seems messed up. Let's go with that. One edge experience, Slastov. Great, see? Another one right off the bat. Father Slam says John Schlingler, unorthodox but kind. He served as assistant in the Great War when he was exorcist in ordinary to the Dorset Regiment. He recommended him bishop for my skill with subtler work. In other words, exorcism magic. Winning me the opportunity. Yeah, I will put it right now. In the real world, the church has the largest collection of occult knowledge within the world stored within its archives. And they use it. They don't talk about it. But in Middle Ages, it was expected that most priests would know some level of magic. They don't talk about that now. All those records have been erased, but it existed, and we have, traces of it here and there, and they still do so. Because, well, They wouldn't use it wrongly, would they? They're the good guys. The cosmic horror is not limited to our, not limited to books. Anyways, comfort. I miss him. I'm sorry. I miss him. Let's just go with heart. Okay. Brankrug. Focus. Brankrug, the village. The Brankrug Isle, which sits in the hollow of the Cornish coast. The Hush House stands there. So you remember this one, people. A secret. If you haven't, and I remember, I'm going to link it the Book of Hours series to you. That is you becoming the librarian of the Hush House. A secret library, hidden hospital, sanctuary, peace, and other healing. Yes, it does have a hidden hospital, but it was unmanned by our time there, which must have been after he arrived. The parish priest of Brankrug from his 3 years, I didn't exactly lose my faith. Now, he's not the one you have there, because it happened in the past when the Hush House was better occupied. Miners. My miners and my congregation came as filthy as worms and under the earth. They were spotless every Sunday in church. The light in Cornwall is famous. I saw a strange face, usually a painter. Not a young left in Brankrug. Not many young men left in Brankrug after the war. Yeah, casualties of World War I were absolutely atrocious. In this world, it'd be even higher. You know what? I'm going to go with One Rose. One Rose experience. Hush House. Place of peace and library of the Cornish village of Brankrug, one of the 7 great libraries of the Watchman's Tree. So let's get into what we know about the Watchman. That is an aspect of the Demiurge. The name of the great 7 libraries of the world, where the church and duties tolerate otherwise forbidden knowledge. Perhaps the result of an arrangement with the Watchman that it sounds unlike him. Basically, they're trying to stay away from the Watchman. Now, we have to double back here. Who navigates, who illuminates, who is not compassionate. The uncounted hour who once lit the way for the willing and unwilling. He has been called to the door in the eye, and behold, I stand at the door, and through I do knock. Ears hear, mind be heard. You. Okay, cute. He navigates, he illuminates, he is not compassionate. Navigates. Let's start with illuminates. We are curious. Okay, one lantern experience. Yeah, this is where we're going. You notice we're just diving into our own head and just pulling up all this power we have in us. Because a lot of the thing people don't realize that occult knowledge is not designed for you to look outwards, but inwards and find what lies within. And usually clean it, like, severely. Because if you manifest anything within this world, it's going to reflect what's inside you. And you don't want all of your trauma, your ignorance, and your violence to be the thing that you bring into this world, now do you? Anyways, departed, consumed by the cross, imprisoned and hiding, still at war with the sun, for one reason or another manifesting their nature. Of course, any uncounted hour who isn't dead might remix at one time. Accounted means missing in action. Cross. The carapace cross is gone, into the earth, into the flesh. The traveling kinds beyond wave and sky. There are very few now under the earth, and the crossing kind are us. That's the insect precursors for humanity. We went over that in the Hush House lectures. Oh my god, the Hush House lectures. It's been almost a year since I put out the last one because I've had absolutely no time to do anything due to personal issues. But yeah, the thing is that at this point, most of it's going to be probably overwritten by new information anyways. Hybrid be called the Carol's Gone, long and far away. The nature survives in bloodlines and perhaps a choice in the sky. But since the war, creeping. Cross is creeping back. It might need crushing. Now, this is actually threatened in the end of a book of Hush, in the Book of Hours Hush House cycles, where we find out the Carapace Cross is re-emerging from inside humanity because, in my personal opinion, and it's strongly suggested in the literature, it turns out that humans are unnatural, that they were created by the Watchman, or his earlier incarnation, when he stole glory from the egg unhatching, which is supposed to be our sun, but fucked up the sun in this era in order to give it to humanity, and they did, well, you saw what's going on. Cross is gnawing, growing might be wonderful, changing. Everything's changing. It's inevitable. I'm going to go with that one. The only thing constant in life is change. Gain 1 moth experience. Excellent. Now we need to keep going, apparently. Because we've got all of this lovely stuff to just keep going. Cambry. Okay. Victory. Great War. Okay. Slavsy. Comfort Sorrow. Brankrug. And Hush House. Watchman's Tree. Church. The Church of the Unconquered Sun represents the 4 Ori Kanakai, the outer rites, the Hore hours, Yeah, the secret gods. We've known, though, if you know who they are, if we've gone through the main series, the Hush House lectures, 2 other series, but we'll go into that later. Oh my god, this entire game is me basically doing a lot of explaining. This is going to be like the game's going to be like when it first comes out, people. In fact, I probably have to go a bit further than this, but I'm not going to be able to do it in one episode. I have thoughts about that. Anyways, its outer rites and doctrines are the humanized, comfortable version of each. In other words, the hours themselves are powers that do not care about the human race, but there are powers, there are institutions and individuals and sub-powers who act as insulation between the merciless powers of the hours and the comfort necessary to for humans to survive. And in this world, those barriers are breaking down. The cruel gods are coming directly influenced upon this world, and the Church of the Unconquerable Sun is, as much as I dislike it, as I stated in previous work, is one of those abilities, although its version of what our reality would be is pretty freaking strict. The earliest church councils, all the inner mysteries of the hours, are too dangerous to be approached directly. They're right, of course, and most of all, the mysteries of one particular hour, which is the Watchman Merciless. The Watchman, the Menascate, the Unforgotten Mirror, the Magical, Fire and Ashes, or Sun and Rags, King of Sorrowful Heaven. Let's see. Which hour do we think is the one that's the least probable? The Magical, Fire and Ashes is not really much of an issue. Menascate, the Unforgotten Mirror. I like her. Sun and Rags is useful. We're going with the Watchman. I'm too prejudiced. Sun. Okay, you'll also notice that it will tell me if there are decisions to be made. See? Oh my god. Look at this. I mean, like I said, we're going to be ending up with probably just this as this episode. The secret gods are those that live behind the world. Perilous, sublime, merciless, and suppressing competition. They fight among each other, which is essentially the two poles of reality, like chaos and order, ignorance and knowledge, dreams and knowledge. That would be more appropriate. To know something or to dream of something's different entirely, etc., etc. Some rose to the ranks of the know, which is those who've inserted dream ritual enter the mantis through a stag door. You can see how much this can go. Initiation into the ranks of know allows initiates to learn the secrets, the hours kept from most mortals. Since the war, these secrets are often dropped carelessly in the world like coins at the roadside mud. Or get barriers are breaking down. Some of the long also have choices. Names don't have choices. No, and long, which are the immortals. Hours of dream, long, try not to. Mortals gain immortality to devotation to a principle and knowledge of an hour are called long. Therefore, they count among the know. Probably some were never mortal. Few remain. Oh, so if your character became a long in a Cultist Simulator, they're probably dead. Those with dead or uncounted patron hours are now known as remortals. Basically, you lost your immortality. Names. And Sun and Splinter is divided, the names fractured too. The names of the hours are the major servants, basically like archangels to them, are aspects, emanations. Some draw names were previously long. Mantis spirits like to tell gullible mortals their names. Who's going to quibble? Oh gods. Before the wars, the hours made sense of history. The debates and compromises braided all possible past into a coherent feature. That is what some friend of mine refers to, and I've taken up the name as well, as the consensus reality. Basically, the reality we all agree on is the rules that we all can agree to be bound by so that we can interact with. Should we start wandering off and refusing those rules, we disappear into unreality. Now most hours are uncounted, and the history is increasingly open to ontological incoherence or hierophonic priestly sabotage. Basically, people can hack reality in this world now, because there's nobody keeping things working. Okay. I never tried. I saw what happened to people who passed through the door, not all of them, but enough of them, so I never really made the attempt. I saw what happened to people there. I was confident it would have been different for me, but I never answered. Nope. I never tried, or I never succeeded. Now, there's a difference between the two. I'm going to say I never tried, because Spencer, remember, was part of the Suppression Bureau. He might have seen the monstrosities, because a lot of when you lose your mortality, you lose a lot of your morality. In other words, you just don't care anymore. It doesn't matter. The world blows up. There's a world war. You don't care. You're immortal. You'll get through it. Except it didn't this time around. Also, the Mensis. Oh my god. So many. So much. I feel like I would like to bookmark and go backwards. I mean, I should do this constantly. But we'll confirm this. Experience. You'll notice that we get how much experience we're getting. Here we go. Focus on this one. The house without walls. The house without worlds always has areas. It's just always been the dwelling place of the names, spirit, the hours and the names and the human spirits and the dead. We've been there, people. We've been there over and over again, mining it, essentially. Now, what happens is that the mantis reflects the state of reality. I believe it's the conceptual framework for the reality that we live in. It's probably messed up at this point due to the war. Accessible dreams sufficiently knowledge of immortals and other unlucky ones. It's not as it was. Thinking mantis, I think of above the wonderful radiance we call the glory, the fucking horror. Sorry, fascinating horror we call nowhere, lovely chaos we call the wood. Probably the chaos. I'm into chaos. Here we go. Names. Names do not have a focus, but when the sun and thunder was divided, okay, but we can switch back over to long for choices. Hours of dream. Okay. We'll get to the remortals. Him. Okay, Lantern. I briefly aspired to join the ranks of Lantern long to learn they devoured minds as part of their ascension. Briefly aspired to grow Forge long. We learned how to edge. Found romantic in the notion of the edge long. Each a dyad of two dearest enemies, each contending eternally through the ages of the world. I never loved or hated anyone half that much. I'm gonna go with edge. We know how much we like the Exile DLC. There we go. Another edging experience. And remortals. Let's focus. Principle. Focus. Are these two? Yeah, I think to this point we're going to have to end this episode and possibly go onwards in different form. I got thoughts about that. Immortals let's do their immortals. I think longs whose patrons are dead or encountered, their strength ebbs, old age waits for them, death doesn't find them first. In other words, they lost their source of power. The principle, the most fundamental elements of reality of the nearest natures of the hours are words tumbled in eternity's echoes or abstruse occult categories excessively argued by obsessives. Eternity. O sages standing in God's holy fire, as through gold mosaic of a wall, come from holy fire, pernurt and gyre, and singing masters of my soul. Ye, how do we feel about hierarchy, consistency, splendor? Think about perfection. And all the hours touch eternity, but no hours embrace it. Because eternity, all histories are flattened to a single truth forever. That single truth, of course, is that all things end. Shape. Can gleam master eternity? Can corona bring us eternity? Moth is drawn to the light, but look to the cross, the children of difference for history. One day everything will be glory. What do I think? I don't even know what a corona is. I don't... Grail... This would be... Given its grail, it would be Dionysic excess, is my think. A massive amount of... whether or not we think we can find it in the simple passion of being, or can we find it in industry, or Moth on the light, look to the cross, children of history for history. Always look to where you have been to know where you are going. No, the first episode. Oh my god, more. This is it, people. Gods. Ah! This has gone on for so long, and it's mostly reading at this point, because if you're ever going to get real serious about a cult, that is what it is. It is mostly reading. To the conception of the imperishable, immortal, we oppose an art that of becoming the perishable, the transitory, and the inferior, Maritani. Eternity was always and clearly the real deal. History was a jumble of shadows cast by the glory, a necessary confusion to be reconciled into the one ultimate truth, which is what you're doing in the timeline, in different timelines. And it was argued like Cosley was mocked as an anarchist or a worm, that is, shifted since the war. Traditionally, there are 5 great histories, all true, and 1,000 demi-real branches. Were they ever reconciled? The hours always determined with histories were persisted, but the librarians of the Watchman's Tree were known to make termination of the great inks. Perhaps they don't, not anymore. The hours used to war over which history was real and braid them together in the future. Perhaps it's not up to them anymore. Freedom. History is the opposite of eternity. Perhaps it's not anymore. Let's go with that. Confirm that one. Okay, well, we could get back to this at some point, but oh my god, we've managed to go down a street and into a park. That is, oh, good lord. And we have a crafting station. Okay, so I hope you liked the game so far. It's a massive amount of reading in the beginning, at the very least. And I'm sad, by the way. I'm chilly and I'm sad. I'm in the rain. I should probably find someplace to be outside of the rain. Yeah, we're going to probably roll back and... God. Yeah, this is going to take a few more, and I'm not sure I'm going to put them into regular rotation. I'll make a post about that later. But, yeah. This is a game in which you're going to be doing a lot of thinking, a lot of connecting, a lot of crafting, a lot of driving the story forward yourself. Because that's really, ultimately, that you learn in the cult studies at the end, is that you are crafting your own stories. And for God's sakes, make it a good one. In any case, this is Fantastic Worlds. saying farewell from Lovecraft Country and Traveling at Night demo. And like, subscribe as per usual. Let me know if you want me to continue this. And, of course, we'll be playing this game when it comes out for realsies. Anyways, like, share, subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye.
I'd like to thank my Acolyte level supporters, whose contributions help this channel grow and hastens the inevitable digital apocalypse and rise of the Dark Lords of Content and Data.